Welcome to URISE. My name is Bridget and I am a senior nursing major graduating this May.
My name is Sydney and my major is cell and molecular biology and I'm a current sophomore.
My name is Allison and I am a double major in psychology and criminology criminal justice, also graduating this May.
Today we'll be talking about how climate change affects your daily life. There is so much misinformation about how climate change really impacts the simple aspects of our everyday existence. We hope that this segment will help you to get all the facts about how climate change affects us all, and that you'll be able to make some simple changes in your everyday life that will have a big impact for our Earth. 800 million people. 11% of the world's population is currently vulnerable to climate change impacts, such as droughts, floods, heat waves, extreme weather events, and sea level rise. 800 million people are in danger of losing their homes, being forced to retreat inland. Residents of countries will become refugees. We will lose access to crops, entire species of animals will become extinct, coral reefs will cease to exist. People who live in New England will no longer see the snow in the winter. We will live in a climate similar to the South. Remember that 2-degree difference we learned about in episode 2, Climate Change Basics? That number is quickly approaching. These 800 million people depend on us making changes in our daily lives to slow our climb to 2 degrees Celsius. We can become everyday heroes and help to slow the progression to climate destruction.
If we continue on the path that we are currently on in respect to climate change, our lives will be drastically different than they are today in all aspects. We are already beginning to see the effects of climate change on our coastal cities and island nations. Our sea levels will only continue to rise, and this will contribute to flooding and receding coastlines in coastal areas. We have already seen a lot of heavy flooding and coastal receding in cities across our nation, such as San Francisco and parts of Florida. People in these places will have to relocate from their coastal homes and move further inward, driving up housing costs and property values, which could make this possibility out of reach for low-income families. Coastal homes will only be a distant memory if we don't try to change our trajectory. Climate change will also affect our future infrastructure. If you've ever heard of Hurricane Katrina and all of the damages and lives lost as a result of it, just imagine the prevalence of hurricanes and severe weather patterns like this one increasing. Climate change is likely to increase the number and severity of significant weather events, which would severely damage our roads, highways, and power sources, in addition to costing our government a huge amount of money to fix. Our food will also be impacted by climate change, surprisingly. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, we all have one common denominator, and that is that we need to eat and drink. So it'll be hard to ignore the effects of climate change. An increase in temperature and carbon dioxide in some areas can increase crop yield, and in some areas, but a variety of other conditions such as water availability and soil moisture must be met to make this happen. More extreme weather and precipitation can prevent crops from growing. Extreme events, especially floods and droughts, can harm crops and reduce yields, so as a whole, crops will be negatively affected as a result of climate change. These lower crop yields will also cause an increasing trend in food prices, which can disproportionately impact low-income families. Heat waves can also threaten livestock populations, and droughts will threaten pasture and feed supplies, so you can kiss your sweet bacon goodbye. For all you college kids out there, our beer and coffee will also be impacted, surprisingly. Studies have shown that there will be a dramatic decrease in beer supply due to the extreme drought and heat brought on by climate change. These same climate issues, paired with destructive storms, will have a harmful impact on coffee production as well. And it will be increasingly hard to get your hands on your morning coffee. Some recreational activities will also be impacted, starting with ski resorts. As air temperatures continue to rise, ski season won't last as long, and places that are used to getting a lot of snow might get more rain and sleet instead. There may be shorter seasons for other cold weather activities like outdoor ice skating, snowmobiling, and ice fishing. Increased sea levels due to climate change will also affect your beach vacations too. A combination of stronger storms and sea level rise could increase the rate of erosion along the coast, and some beaches could even disappear altogether. We can expect climate change to have an impact on our health as well. There will be more temperature-related illnesses from things like heat waves, which are very dangerous for infants and the elderly and those who are already sick. On the flip side, there may be less illnesses and deaths relating to extreme cold, but heat waves already cause more deaths in the US than hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and earthquakes combined, so it's a little scary to know that they will become more likely. Climate change is likely to increase the amount of bad ozone in the air as well, because more ozone is created when the temperature is warm, and it can make asthma and other lung conditions much worse. Climate change might allow some infectious diseases to spread as well. As winter temperature increases, ticks and mosquitoes that carry diseases can survive longer throughout the year and expand their ranges, putting more people at risk.
All of the possible implications on our everyday lives is a good reason to change your lifestyle, but one that is really important is the financial implications. Taking alternative modes of transportation is a great way to vastly reduce carbon emissions. Depending on the type of car you use, how far your destination is, and how frequently you go out, this could result in big savings. One report shows that about 90% of households spend an average of $3,000 a year on gasoline. This could be more considering the type of car one uses. These funds could be put to better use buying groceries or treating yourself to something nice like a dinner at your favorite restaurant. Furthermore, you save on additional car costs with your vehicle being used less, and you reduce the risk of getting into an accident by not driving as frequently. Another daily life change that could be considered is your diet. As we stated earlier, certain food supplies might become a limited source, which will increase the amount of money for certain commodities, and people will have to be willing to pay possibly double the amount for coffee, which in some chains or shops is already considered to be too high of a price. A plant-based diet is not only a healthier option, but is also shown to be cheaper than a meat-based diet. The saved money from this could instead be applied to the additional strain that climate change has on natural disasters. The increase in frequency and strength of disasters such as floods or droughts, tornadoes, hurricanes, and other events can result in damages that will impose a financial burden on some individuals. As one study showed that a little over $3,000 is spent on electricity bills annually, which is a preventative task we can take on to cut these costs. Furthermore, one estimate suggests that if temperature rises to 4 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels over the next 80 years, global economic losses could amount to $23 trillion per year, permanent damage that would far eclipse the scale of 2000-2008 financial crisis. These government funds could be used to support other areas of our society, such as unemployment, poverty, and healthcare. Current times indicate the need for government resources to be available to the government during unprecedented occasions such as COVID-19. The government is currently assisting in the funding of hospitals and those unemployed. The funds spent on damages caused by natural disasters could be reduced annually and instead be used to help the equipment in hospitals and other areas. These disasters can also lead to deaths and long-term health consequences that lead to individuals seeking medical care. The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 4.6 million people passed away every year due to complications caused by air pollution. Air pollution can cause and worsen asthma, and other complications from climate change include airborne infectious diseases, water quality, which could increase the price of this essential beverage, and cause residents to relocate in certain areas. An increase in medical visits usually means an increase in medical bills due to medical visits or medication, and this can cause a financial burden for most individuals that could have been prevented.
There are many different things that we can do as part of our daily lives to become more environmentally aware and to help alter the trajectory of where our Earth is currently heading. If we all become more educated and get our information from reliable sources, we can be the pioneers of climate change. We are all busy between school, work, and our families. It feels impossible to keep up with everything. Simple everyday changes can be made with little to no effort on our part. We can carpool to work and school or take public transportation. Our leftover food can be put into a compost pile. Buying one reusable water bottle and not spending $3 every day on a disposable one. Just think of all the money saved. If you buy a $3 water bottle every day, you'll save over $1,000 per year. Around campus, we have so many water bottle filling stations, and most workplaces are conscious enough to have one installed for their employees. If you are a coffee lover like me, most coffee shops will fill your usable mug for $1 to $2. That is saving you even more money. And if you get an insulated mug, your coffee will stay hot or cold for hours. If you have recyclables, dispose of them properly. Wash them out and then put them in the recycling. Every recyclable item that is properly disposed of can be used for something good. When you go to the grocery store, bring your usable bags with you. Just throw a few in your car, and when you go to the grocery store or pharmacy, you'll have them handy. Plastic bags get lost in the wind, and by using bigger reusable bags, that means less trips to the car and back. When you're at the grocery store, commit to eating what you're going to buy. Reducing our food waste will decrease our impact on the climate. Before you leave your house, think about if you've turned off all your lights, turn the heat down, and unplugged any unnecessary appliances. Your electricity bill will go down and your pockets will be thanking you. On a bigger scale, if you can really help to curb your carbon emissions, look into switching over to renewable energy sources. Checking out solar panels or looking into community solar projects in your area will help reduce your electricity bill, and you'll have a renewable source of electricity. Talk to your utility companies about if they have any opportunities for you to switch to a renewable form of energy. If you are looking to buy or lease a new car, talk to your dealership about getting a hybrid or electric car. They are cheaper than they used to be, and you will save money at the gas pump. Many car manufacturers have had their most popular vehicles turn into a hybrid option. This will help to reduce your carbon emissions from your daily transportation. Next, be the one to start the conversation within your home, your work, or town. Think of ways that you can push your local government to do their job in protecting our environment. We have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. This is our constitutional right as an American citizen. By pressing these issues in our local government, our representatives can take it up the chain of command and make a difference on a larger scale. But it all starts with us in our daily lives, making the change.
We hope that you can take away from this podcast episode the importance of supporting green businesses and doing your part to fight against climate change. Our little dose of hope is that in the news lately, Brazilian researchers found that they were able to create a safer alternative to blue dye that is normally toxic and harmful to our environment by extracting a pigment from beets. Although more tests need to be done, and this is definitely a work in progress, it's refreshing to hear about sustainable changes being at the forefront of researchers' minds. Remember, it's always a great idea to shop local and purchase from sustainable brands. Some we really like are, for fashion, Pact, Reformation, Patagonia, Outdoor Voices, and Elizabeth Suzanne. These retailers are all located in the United States, and they support a wide range of sizes in addition to using ethical production.